いつも君と待ち続けた季節は何も言わず通り過ぎた。雨はこの街に降り注ぐ少しのリグレットと罪を包み込んで泣かないことを誓ったまま時は過ぎ痛む心に気がつかずに僕は一人になった記憶の中でずっと二人は生きてゆける。君の声が今も胸に響くよ。それは愛がさまよう限り君は少し泣いた。あの時見えなかった。
This place is rather gloomy.
Why don't you lighten the mood for us while we're here then?
I'll see what I can do.
Huh.
No choice. Double Demon Fang! Take this! It's all blood! Rending you apart!
They're hiding thick as armor.
Here I come!
Old-fashioned their defense. Glad you have your uses.
Charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
Take this! Slash! Swallow Blade! Severing Wind! Hold nothing back!
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Hold on to your art.
Try harder! Not a chance! No escape!
Shattering the pieces!
My turn!
Now!
Double Demon!
Astral energy! Full throttle! A flawless victory.
They smite.
Naturally.
Double Demon!
In a bind?
Here I come! No escape!
Lunar Flash! I'm all stuffed up!
I'm not
Wait
done!
now!
Your mind is
Now!
blazing blade.
Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw!
We managed to pull through.
You can make plants grow instantly? What if we use this for fruits and vegetables?
I'd rather not be our party's fertilizer. Sir, thank you very much. Coming through!
Double Demon Fang!
Lightning condemned! Don't mind if I do!
This one's all mine! Eat dirt!
It's a duel of the odds!
Double Demon Fang!
Can't this world!
Destructive!
Do it!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade! Resonate with the earth!
Take this! No escape! Mirage! No escape! I'll smash you!
Holy Glimmer! Freeze
Take
Lancer!
it!
Holy
Win!
This one's mine!
I'm not done!
I'm ready!
Lunar Star! Astral Energy!
Say no more!
I think I'm getting stronger. Hi, Hoodle!
Double Demon Fang! Ignite! Take this! Take this!
You have to aim for the bright area on their back.
Why'd you hear me?
To stop you dying?
Ah, right. It's almost too strong.
Split it open! Be my guest!
In a bind?
Take this!
An astral art?
That's my cue.
Demon Fang!
You dare
Shut him
strike me
down!
from behind?
It's over!
I'll stop it, Charge!
Thanks, Kitara.
Take it?
Now I can let loose! It's over! Rising focus!
Now.
Ready and chill!
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
I'll heal you all.
Not a chance!
Dance on the
Where are
wind!
you going?
Tempting!
Heal Force. Here.
Double Demon Fang!
Cascade.
You're mine!
Soaring blood!
Back into the fray. Now.
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Dance in the wind.
Not this time!
Lunar Blast. This will come in handy.
Rising coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Not a chance!
You require
Rising
Raging
Falcon!
Storm.
Win!
Whoa, hey.
Stardust!
I'm ready!
Rimmer!
Astral Energy.
Say no more!
You sure showed them.
All in a day's work.
Design of this equipment is really interesting.
You must really like it, Alphen.
Courteous, aren't you?
Shattering
Glacial Spear. Pierce the
Attack!
evil.
Begin! In a bind?
Freeze Laser. Supernova.
I can carve through armor!
Light Astral Energy.
Blood.
I'm ready! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone! That makes you light. The enemy wields art too.
You'll soon see about that.
Stardust!
Dovaline.
Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis. You don't mess around.
Not a chance! I'm not
Certainly
done!
not.
Stardust!
Can you take it?
Rising Falcon!
Flame of Fury.
Win!
The everlasting
Radiant Spear.
Negative gate! Reflect on
Right
that.
now.
They
You're
must
mine!
black and blood.
Here goes. Astral Energy.
Say no more! That astral energy was incredible!
I gave it everything I had. They're surrounding us. Confiscated.
It's on!
Air
Double
Blast.
Demon Fang!
If it cools up,
From the sky is mine.
You're mine!
the airborne scoundrels, no
Sounds like a
armor.
job for yours truly.
Remind me to stay on your good side.
I can carve through, ready and
I'll
ready.
heal you all.
Blood, rending you apart.
Double Demon Fang!
I'm ready.
Astral Energy.
Say no more!
I'm pretty lucky.
My face is starting to sting. My throat feels super parched.
Here, have some water. Just make sure you don't drink too much.
Thanks. Hi, Hoodle!
Double Demon Fang! No further!
Radiant look here!
Double Demon Fang!
Illuminate the dark array!
Take this! Are those rocks in skin? Sever the flame inside me, yours to be let free!
The flashing part's their weak point.
Take this! Ignite!
Here's a healer!
You're mine!
In here!
Now I can let
Let's
loose!
get you out of the way! Radiant,
You're
ready to go!
Win!
Astral energy!
Do it!
Take this!
Go for it!
Prepare to crumble!
So I still had room to grow.
Right, here goes! Double Demon
Glacial
Fang!
Spear! Here's evil!
Armor won't save you!
Light astral confiscated! Where are you going?
Swallow Blade!
Guarding wind!
I'll take you all on! I'm ready!
Astral energy!
Say no more! Got it!
Well done!
You're mine! This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for. Get behind me
Now!
Got it! In an instant! Impact Cross! My turn! I'm not done! Stardust! You picked the wrong fight!
Seems about right to me.
What's with that shining foe over there?
This one will be difficult to predict.
No further!
Light astral lightning condemned!
Deny!
You all!
Try harder! Swallow Blade! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Illuminate the dark! Here,
Double Demon Fang!
Holy Land! Into the shadows!
Double Demon Fang!
Let the rain!
Move it!
Illuminate the dark! Round and ready!
Severing wind!
Holy Land! I never fit! I'm expert! Come through!
Double Demon Fang! Here I come!
Glacial Spear! Pierce evil! I will mind if I do!
Inside me, yours to be let free!
Freeze Lancer!
Not to the...
Ready to go! Light astral energy! More with
Here I come! I can carve through war! We turn the tables on!
There are still more left! Astral energy!
Say no more! Got it!
Well done!
Glacial
Glacial Spear! Pierce evil! Holy Land!
Try harder! Not a chance! Swallow Blade! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Damn it! Here I come! Now we're not... Can't get out of this! Severing wind!
Swallow Swipe! Lunar
You're on!
corruption!
Take that!
Do it!
Fluidity!
Astral energy!
Say no more! My turn! I can carve through the flame inside me. Yours will be let free.
Now! Astral energy! Full throttle!
Great.
I found. Found some equipment.
Let me take a look at it.
Discourteous,
Double
aren't you?
Demon Fang! Not today!
Corruption! Oh!
Then is
Take
it
it!
light?
I'm not done!
Here!
They smell the rain! Not on my watch!
You're mine!
Eat dirt! Here, let me. This one's mine!
Swallow Blade!
Wind astral energy!
Destruction!
I will
Double
leave you
Demon
all.
Fang!
Raging
Win!
cascade!
Take this!
Healing here!
You're mine!
This will come
I'm
in
not
handy!
done!
I've been
Carved through armor! Double Demon Fang!
Ready to go! By the power of
I'm
the
ready!
Lord!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Illuminate the sun! One more!
You're mine!
Let it rain! Holy land! Too much to handle?
Take this!
Dance in the wind!
Severing Wind!
Air thrust!
Rising Elusive
Deity!
Lunar
Double
blast!
Demon Fang!
Raging storm!
In a bind?
Attack! Here, let me help!
The flame inside me! Yours to be let
Thanks
free!
for the healing. Watch yourself, okay? Yeah, you too. Now,
Remember!
astral energy!
Say no more!
Lady Fortune must truly be watching over me.
Go no further!
Double Demon Fang!
Everlasting
Not today!
Lunar corruption!
Negative Double Demon Fang!
Dance in the wind!
Sword Rain
Air
Alpha!
thrust!
Raising you on power!
Shattering
arms being interrupted.
You're attacking from behind! Here, let me do it! Leave the enemy's arcs to me!
Double Demon! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Oh, sparkling stars of light!
You're mine!
Elusive deity!
Double Demon Fang!
Hitting fire driver! I'll thank you.
Now, I never quit! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Back to everlasting darkness.
Illuminate the
It's
sun!
on!
Come forth!
Negative Double Demon Fang!
Resonate with the
None
earth.
of it won't stop
My
us.
turn!
The last night.
Now! Well, looky here!
This bridge will hold itself together, right?
Most definitely. Though I won't make any promises.
Which one is it?
Discourteous,
Double
aren't
Demon
you?
Fang! Ghost you! Not a chance! Burn!
In a bind?
Double Demon Fang!
The flashing parts are weak points!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Holy land! One more!
Blind you with the dust!
Double Demon
Do it!
Fang! Remember!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Nicely done.
What's this thing?
Callous. Calcified. Calaglia.
What kind of poem is that?
A sparse one. Retreat if you know what's good for you.
Armor won't save you!
Negative
Radiant
gain!
energy!
Here I come!
Illuminate the lunar corruption! I'm all set!
Swallow blade!
Annihilation!
Infernal torrent!
Hold on to your arm! Here now!
Look sharp! Lightning tiger blade! It's on! I'm not done!
Radiant, look here!
Lightning focus!
Radiant,
Tornado blast!
Tornado blast!
Destruction!
Radiant, look
Tank
here!
blade! Not today! I'm ready!
Get toasty!
Bird strike!
That was almost too easy. No enemy can stand against us.
If only every battle went so well.
Come and face me! Double demon fang!
Go! Stay in a bind!
Try harder!
Chinese supernova! Dance in the wind! Where are you going? Air
Here I
thrust!
come!
Light astral energy!
Rising focus!
Negative gain! Shattering
Pieces! Your dream!
Double demon! This one's all mine! Burn! Next!
As impressive as always.
Here I hope that was improving.
No, I mean, you're even better than ever. I've never seen Keon actually respect them. Perhaps now isn't the time?
I really don't.
All day!
Hold nothing back!
Begin!
Double demon fang! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Not a chance!
Photon
No
blast!
escape!
Far enough! Illuminate the sky! Magic I never miss!
Win!
Captivity!
Rising focus!
Everlasting
Destruction!
Radiant
Tornado
illuminate the
blast!
sky! Come
Resonate
through!
with the
Holy
air.
Land!
Ignite!
Holy Land! By the power of
Double
Mars!
demon fang!
Don't mind if I do!
Flush!
Back into the fray!
Soaring alpha! I'm not done!
Do it!
Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw! We work well together.
Like a finely timed waltz.
Wind astral
You're
energy!
mine!
Illuminate the
Take
dark!
this!
Come annihilate!
Destruction!
I'm ready!
Soda!
Hey!
Blow them away!
Well then, I should probably think about tonight's menu.
Little help!
Pieces! Attack time!
Come one, come all!
Leave the chargers to me!
Gale Force!
I'll smash you!
Whoa! What did it like? Air
I'm not done!
Resonate with the earth!
Magic
Win!
advance!
Eat this!
In here! This'll come in
I'm not
handy!
done!
Scream!
Healing
Double
Zone!
demon fang!
Rending you apart!
Raging Storm!
Swallow blade!
Death shall not face your end.
Be careful not to overdo it.
One song.
Now's our chance!
Be better.
No escape! You're
I'm
mine!
ready!
Resonate with the earth!
Our extra never fits!
Take this!
Razor
Double
Cycle!
demon fang!
Tunnel! There! Light astral
Swallow
energy!
blade! Wind! Soda!
Glacial Sphere!
Now! Look sharp! Lightning tiger blade!
Our superiority was undeniable.
It feels invigorating to dominate a battle.
I was certain I saw you yawn.
Come now, I'm certainly not that relaxed. crazy to see rocks melt before our eyes.
Watch where you're going, everyone. If you fall, there'll be nothing left of you.
Exactly. So don't try anything.
Just courteous, huh?
See what I can do! Illuminate the dark! Glacial Spear!
Can't get out of this!
Freeze Lancer!
I can carve through armor! I shall ensure you survive this!
One more! Spread! Dance in the wind!
Captivity! I'm ready!
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes! A merry distraction!
There's still more to go! Not on my watch!
Destruction!
Far enough!
Is that a healing rock? It is. I can't ignore your pain. I'll try to be more careful.
You're finished! You're mine!
Holy Land! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Benediction light.
Take it!
Lightning condemned!
Not today!
This one's mine! Thunderbolt! Illuminate
mine!
the dark! Come forth!
I'm not
Holy
done!
Holy Land! Reload!
You're mine!
I'm on a
Double
roll!
demon fang!
You
Severing
fight
wind!
better at a distance. The further away, the better. You and I both. Holy Glimmer!
I'm ready!
Frozen!
Hammer!
I've been doing really great lately.
Hi, Hoodle!
Scream.
Double demon fang!
I can handle it.
Here's evil! Sweet world!
Make it
far enough! A whirling struggle! Magic is in! Hold on
Go
to
for
your
the
heart.
weak point.
Here I come!
Heal! Take this! I'm not done!
Burning sun! Tempest wall! Here's evil!
Here I come! The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Can you take it? Fly! You're mine!
Lightning
See
orb!
what I can do!
Now!
All yours, Kitara!
Hear me! Ring of
Here I come!
Gale Force!
Double demon
Dance in
fang!
the wind!
Crush! No escape!
More for the
Severing
side!
wind!
No further!
No escape!
On your
It's over!
Lunar corruption!
Destruction!
Lots of
Severing wind!
Meteor! One more time!
It's over!
Do it!
Blow them away!
Was that a new skill I saw back there?
Indeed. Well, sorta.
An opponent like this should be easy. Double defense!
Where are you going?
Eagle ray!
Not in your dreams! I'll heal you all! Raging storm!
Burn in hell! Take it!
Go for the weak point!
I owe you one. Double demon dip!
Take the dance in the wind!
You see what I can shattering the pieces!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! My turn!
Photon blast!
Carve through armor!
Denied!
Double
Now!
Fluidity of the
Kitara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Only the best materials in your garments.
You really do have quite the discerning eye, Dohalim.
Yeah, they all kind of look the same to me. I need something to eat. I didn't know you had that sort of trick up your sleeve, Dohalim. I would have figured rocks and plants would be too different for you to handle both.
Not...
What the hell is that thing?
Probably that monster Nath warned us about, if I had to guess.
Do you think this might have been where one of those lights that shot out of the wedge landed?
But why this location, if the purpose of the wedge is to harvest Dana's astral energy?
We can figure that out later. If that thing gets into town, it's going to cause chaos. We need to take it down and move on. Let's go! This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
Here it comes! Focus!
On your toes, everyone!
Take this! Suddenly turning tail doesn't seem so ridiculous.
Why? Are you scared?
Me? Are you?
Do you even have to ask? Of course I'm scared!
Focus up before we become that thing's lunch.
It's... Summoning Zoogles? Take care of them while keeping an eye on it! Air thrust!
I'll stop its charge!
Thanks, Kisara! Here's the dance in the wind! Air thrust! Dance in the wind! Air thrust! Magic! Bam!
This one's mine!
Steel! Here's a healing arc! Get on in there with the air!
No escape! Come and face me!
In a bind?
Take this! Double Demon Fang! Sword Rain Alpha! No escape! It's over!
I can carve through a blackened blade!
Burning strike! Glacial spear! Here it is! More with that Great Blazer!
Double Demon Fang!
ruin. Is this what real pain feels like? I couldn't make it in time.
Anything in armor is all mine!
Light acid raging!
Our arts are being interrupted.
Stalagmite!
Light astral energy!
Double Demon Fang!
I never miss!
I'm not done! Stardust! No
Don't mind
escape!
if I do!
I'm not done! Stardust!
There you go! Don't let up!
Take this!
Take this!
Sleep now!
Double Demon Fang!
Take
All
this!
mine!
Go time!
Yeah! It's over!
More with Osa!
Double Demon Fang!
Dance in the wind!
Severing Wind!
Air thrust!
You're mine! No escape!
A thrilling performance.
Raging cascade!
Can you take it? Thrust!
Dance in the wind! Here now!
Double Demon
More
Fang!
rings left time!
Not today! Air pressure!
Wind astral energy!
I'm not done!
Banana, let's go!
Take this!
It looks like you got lost! Demon's descent!
Flashing Fang!
Now! Here I come!
Lightning condensed! Thunder blade! Illuminate the
Fluidity of your movements are simply incredible.
I can carve through armor! Take this!
Severing with the Tempest! Take this! No escape! Rising Falcon! No escape! Crush!
Here's the light of power!
Take this!
Razor
Going
cyclone!
to rise is yours to be let free!
I'm light astral
Rising
energy!
Falcon!
I never miss!
I can do! Tempest! Elusive can't get out of this!
Swallow blade!
Annihilation!
Destruction! Double demon fang!
I'm out of air!
I'm not done! You're finished!
Magic is there!
Double demon fang!
Holy land!
No escape! I'm not done! It's over!
Can you take it?
You're mine!
I'm ready!
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Here come more!
You'll just have to keep fighting.
Leave the enemy's arts to me!
Eat them!
No complaints here!
Holy
Double demon fang! I owe you one!
Now! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! Now! Take this!
Not in your dreams! Ready by the
Escape!
power of
Rising Falcon!
Do it!
In an instant! Impact block! We work well together.
Like a finely timed wall.
Double demon fang!
They're all coming after me!
I'm coming, Manuel!
I'm not scared. I'm totally fine.
Double demon fang!
Freeze Lancer!
Try harder! My turn! Your mother! This is looking good!
Illuminate
Forgive me.
your fire!
This is my fault.
Holy glitter! Holy land! Don't mind if I do.
I'll smash you!
Burning
I owe you
strike!
one.
Benediction light.
I owe you one.
Reinforcements incoming!
Not a problem. This one's mine.
Double demon fang!
Elusive deity
It's on!
can't get out of this!
Here I come!
Confiscated.
Ignite! Here I come!
Benediction light.
Here. What would I do without you?
I'm ready!
Chill!
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
I'll heal you all. Here goes.
Double demon!
Now you see what I can do!
Healing circle.
I owe you one.
Here.
Severing wind!
Far enough. Here's what you get on in there with the other. Freeze Lancer.
I'm not done!
Heal. Hey, one at a time.
Is this what real pain feels like?
Reload. I'm out of ammo. Shiny, not in your dreams. Lightning to
Now you
them.
see what I can do!
Thunder blade. Illuminate the
And more of this and I'll burn out!
Holy land. Annihilation.
Double demon fang!
Burning.
Stay away from my friend! Demon fang!
Holy land.
Take this! Try harder! Now!
Photon burst in the wind. In here. Spirit flame. Spirit flame.
Double demon fang!
Ready to go.
I'm not done!
Really strong, Alvin.
I'm just trying to do the best I can.
Still, reassuring to have you around. As impressive as always.
Here I hope that was
No, I mean, you're even better than ever. I've never seen Xion actually look flustered. Astral energy!
Here I come!
You're all.
Here I go!
Thanks for the healing. Watch yourself, okay? Yeah, you too. Appreciate the help. Holy land! That's it! Freeze Lancer! Coming through!
This should do it! Double demon fang!
Will this help? Light acid dance in the wind! In here, healing circle!
I owe you one.
And just like that, I'm back in it. Start by holding the weapon.
No sooner said than done.
Your archer is lucky.
Look sharp!
Is this it?
Will this help?
Leave me all over. Rinwell!
It's nothing. I'm alright. Thanks for this. I owe you, Xion. Healing is what my arts do best. All mine can do is cause havoc and destruction. Do it! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Will this help? Here goes!
Shattering pieces!
Double demon fang!
Why'd you heal me?
To stop you dying?
Ah,
Right.
Ready to go!
It's about to strike!
Look sharp, everyone!
Everyone all right?
We won't surrender. We won't retreat, not yet.
Whatever you do, just please stay safe.
How are we supposed to take on something so big?
I'll handle it.
Alphen!
Watch and learn. That's enough! Go back down! Everyone okay?
Yeah, I think so.
That thing scared the pants off me.
It felt like it had a different aura than other Zeugles, didn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't like the one that Almadria sicked on us either.
Its elemental astral energy variance was out of this world. It was like fighting a lord.
I guess it's safe to assume that if it came out of the wedge, it must have played some part in helping harvest astral energy. But what?
Perhaps a living spirit vessel? It's plausible, given the location. Or it may be part of a new force dispatched to regain control of Dana.
If we assume that monster was one of the 4 beams of light, we must have prevented something from taking place here.
I'd like to think so, knowing how much grief it gave us. But at least with that out of the way, we can keep moving forward now. Let's go.
I feel sprightlier than before.
Hey, is that it over there?
You can never be too prepared. But did we have to spend so much?
Alphen?
Did you remember something?
No, but I have seen this starship before. This is it. This is the ship I traveled in when I escaped from Lenegis.
Three centuries later, and it's no worse for wear. I'll take a look at the internals.
Damn! I'm amazed it still works at all after all this time.
The past meets the present. I really am from a different time and place.
Yeah, but you've got us now, Alphen.
Not only that, but you've helped out so many people, too.
Law's right. Rinwell too. You're one of us now. No more carrying the weight of history on your shoulders. You're a part of this world.
Right. Thanks, you guys.
How's it look?
It should fly. All internal systems seem to be operating. However, considering how long it's remained inactive, I suspect it will take some time before it's ready for takeoff.
How much time are we talking here?
Starship mechanics are not what I'd call my forte, so I'd rather not hazard a guess.
So we've just got to sit around here and wait? I'm terrible at waiting.
That's because you're a child. Oh, but how about we use this time to prepare and gather supplies for the trip?
Good idea. Who knows when we'll be back from Lenegis once we leave. We should prepare ourselves for every possible scenario before we go.
Let's try not to stay away too long. I'd hate for anything to happen to the place while we're gone.
Either we race ahead, or we take due precaution to ensure we have no regrets. I shall leave it up to you as to how we proceed, Alphen.
Works for me.
It's funny, isn't it?
What is?
All this. When we first started this thing, did you ever imagine we'd be going to Lenegis? After all, this is the sort of thing I was rebelling against when I ran away from home, right?
I'm sure Zephyr would be proud if he knew what his son was doing right now.
And a little shocked, too.
We're defying the order of things that have persisted for 300 years. Deep down, I knew our journey would lead to confronting Lenegis.
Yeah, you maybe, but you're a Renan. The rest of us can barely even picture what it means to leave Dana.
No offense to Shion and Dohalim, but it's worth remembering we're heading into enemy territory.
No offense taken. And this is no picnic for me either.
Remember, our aim is to ensure that both Lenegis and the Renan homeworld leave Dana alone for good. I don't think we'll be able to avoid a fight.
Is there no way we can talk them into leaving us alone?
The people of Lenegis?
Sure. I mean, we found a way to make it work with Xion and Dohalim, right? And it's not just us. If places like Menancia can do it, then why can't we?
Because there are still many of my kind who believe it was right and natural that Rena reigns over Dana. There are those on Lenegis who have never stepped foot on Dana. I doubt whether they'd even listen to Danans.
Look, none of us want to fight. But these are the same people who fired that wedge down on Dana. What happens next is on them.
Right. We're not going to sit back and wait for them to oppress us again.
Right.
Don't forget, there's also a good chance the Red Woman is somewhere on Lenegis. And wherever she is, we should find the Renaissalma too.
That's right. If we can take it back, then Xion can finally get rid of her thorns. Xion?
Huh? Yeah.
Where? Xion? Where'd Xion go? How could she... Xion. Xion! It's your thorns? But why? You okay? Just now, it looked like you used your maiden powers to suppress your thorns. You can really do that?
Stay out of my way.
Wait a second. Are you planning to go alone?
Shut up!
Why would you do this?
I told you to shut up!
I won't let you.
I mean it.
I refuse to let you.
I won't tell you again. Move or I'll shoot.
If that's the case, then go ahead and shoot me!
Do you remember back when I was stabbed? By Rolron?
Yeah. I thought for sure that he had killed you back there.
That wasn't the first time. Huh? The first time was when I was only a child. After that, no matter how often, I just couldn't die.
Couldn't die? So you're immortal? How's that even...
I believe you, Xion. But tell me how is something like that possible?
My thorns. They're me, but at the same time not. They're part of me. I have no idea why, but my thorns will never let me die. At least not before I'm meant to.
You can't die before your death?
When my thorns free themselves, it will be my death. I've seen it. A darkness that swallows up everything until nothing remains. It's a vision of oblivion I can't escape. I want to believe it's all just a bad dream. But no matter what I tell myself, I know it's not.
Yeah, but you... Wait. The whole reason you needed the Renaissance was to get rid of your thorns, right?
If I burn away what's inside, then what will happen to the rest of me? Right. Either way you look at it, I'm going to die. But if I am going to die, I figure I can at least take my thorns out with me. That's what I've been after this whole time.
That's why you turned your back on your fellow Renans and chose to fight with us, isn't it? And while we've all been fighting to keep on living, you have been with us fighting desperately to die.
That was the plan. But then I met all of you. And before I knew it, I didn't want to die anymore.
Shionne, don't lose hope yet. We'll find a way to save you. There's still time to.
It's pointless.
Why?
Because the darkness won't just consume me. The truth is, it will consume all of existence as well. It was only a suspicion at first, but ever since the Red Woman triggered my maiden powers, I've been more certain than ever before. It was then that I finally came to realize my powers were holding my thorns in check the entire time. But they don't anymore. Not since Lenegis, when the wedge fell. Every day, I feel the thorn's power growing stronger inside of me. Pretty soon, I won't be able to hold them back anymore. And when that happens,
They will consume all existence.
And that's why you wanted to leave by yourself. You planned to find the Renaissance on your own and sacrifice yourself to stop the thorns.
But that's... too much. It's way too much.
when this all began, I didn't care what happened to me or anyone else. And what happened to the Renans or the Dahnans didn't matter to me at all. I know I have to die, but I don't want to. Not now that I have this. I wish we had never met. Then I wouldn't have to feel this way.
Shionne!
Alvin?
Living for the sake of dying is no better than being a slave. How can you endure this?
Alvin.
It's not fair. I don't care what anybody says. I won't let it happen. We can fight this. We'll fight until the end together. Isn't that what you said to me before?
Even if it should mean that it'll be the end of everything else, too?
Shionne, what do you want? It's your decision, ultimately. But if you decide not to fight fate, I will. Even if I have to do it alone.
No, you won't be alone. I'll fight as well.
Count me in as well. I want to be a force for good, not hate.
And me too. I meant it with all of my heart when I told you before. Neither of you are alone in this at all.
You guys...
And I, for one, don't believe this venture is without hope.
Huh?
Shion is the descendant of a maiden from 300 years ago. Given the circumstances, it seems very likely that those events have some connection to her thorns. The true nature of which, I imagine we will discover as we make our way to Lenegis and uncover the truth of what's unfolding here.
I take it you mean we might find a way to get rid of her thorns and she'll live?
It's certainly possible. Though I suspect the nature of the Sovereign is connected somehow.
So be it. I've already lost everything I had once. And I won't let it happen again. Shion. No matter what happens from now on, we're right here with you. All of us are. You are not alone.
You guys, you're all so stubborn. Thank you, everyone. For right now, and a little while longer, I just want to hold on to this dream. And most of all, more than anything else, I want to be with all of you. So let's go. On to Lenegis.
The end of the world. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I believe Shion is telling the truth. What about you?
As a friend, yes, I want to believe her. Everything that's happened seems to point towards some sort of great danger that's lurking ahead of us. Still, it's hard to fathom something that could usher outright doom to the world. That those really are the stakes we face.
No, I understand. Even Shion doesn't seem to know exactly what will happen to bring it all about.
We have so many pieces of the puzzle in our hands, so many clues, yet the complete picture eludes us.
So where do her thorns fit in then?
Well, I imagine they must sit at the very center of it all. You remember the voice we all heard while we were inside the wedge, don't you?
Yeah, I remember. It was the will of Dana's astral energy come to life. Or that's what we all thought.
Right. And from that, we're able to hypothesize how vast concentrations of astral energy can become sentient. Let's return to when we found Shion in Pelegion. When her thorns went wild, they contained far more astral energy than any mere Renin would normally have inside them.
So you think those thorns might be alive too? That their will is what keeps her from dying? But why would they want to destroy the entire world?
As for that, I really cannot say for certain. Its goals still remain a mystery. It may be a mere fluke that her maiden powers have been able to contain it thus far.
You know, I've noticed since we've met that you like figuring out riddles.
Can you blame me? When one realizes that the world they once thought to be true is but a mere facade, they can't help but seek the truth. Especially when that deception has led to others getting hurt.
Dohalim?
I imagine the remaining pieces of the puzzle that we seek rest somewhere within Lenegis. As for what the final picture will look like, who can say? I think it's best we not dwell on it too much for the time being.
Right.
How you holding up?
Who, me?
Yes, you. You took a hit from those thorns again, didn't you?
Oh, that? That was nothing.
Compared to what Shion's going through, you mean? Still, even if you yourself might be willing to endure that kind of pain, that doesn't mean Shion wants to have to see you get hurt by her thorns, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'll be careful.
Shion doesn't know how lucky she is to have you around, you know? Dashing in to save her at the last minute.
Yeah, very funny.
I'm being serious. You went up and held her close like you still had that mask on, and you didn't even bat an eye. She really needed that. That's what I mean when I said you saved her. Just like you did with the rest of us.
I just want for Shion what we all have. The ability to touch someone without the fear of killing them. Those thorns have robbed her of the kind of everyday things we all take for granted. And it's not right.
You can say that again. It may be normal for us, but that doesn't make it any less special or important for her. I hope she gets what she wants. I have my own dreams, but a world without her, where she dies so we can all survive, isn't a world I want to live in.
Agreed. It's like more and more keeps getting taken from her, and I'm done with it. Can't sleep?
After everything we just heard, how could I?
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal with so much on her own. Even when we were all laughing and celebrating, she just kept quiet and didn't say anything. I thought she was keeping her distance because of her thorns. That it was because she didn't want to hurt anybody by getting too close. I just figured that that was the type of person she was, you know? But it turned out to be none of that. All this time, she felt like she had to die and sacrifice herself for the greater good. But even then, she didn't think she could say anything to us about it.
I know.
She was so alone this entire time. How could I call her a friend and yet be so completely blind to everything she was going through?
I'm sure it made her happy, knowing you were there for her.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do. If she didn't think of us as friends, I don't think she could have ever opened up to us like that. You were a good friend to her before, and you'll be an even better one now.
Yeah, I really hope so. I want to be the best I can for her. When you think about it, we were all alone in our own way. But over time, we've all found ways to let each other into our lives. I hope Shion's able to do that one day too. No, I mean, I hope she's able to do that more. Lots and lots more. I think it'd be really nice if we could all just be there to support each other when it really counts. And forget about our grudges and pain.
Rinwell.
Did you know?
You mean about Shion?
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. I mean, every once in a while I thought something seemed a little off, but I never could have imagined. It's like a completely different world was spinning around me and I couldn't even see it.
You and me both. I mean, I knew something was bothering her, but I could never quite figure out what it was.
You? But you're the one always looking out for her, aren't you?
That's what I thought. But in reality, I didn't understand it all. What I thought was helping and being there for her was actually just driving her into a corner.
At least you figured it out in time, though, right?
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But yeah, you're right. We brought her back from the edge, and we're going to stop those thorns from taking her, no matter what.
Yeah, with all of us together, there's nothing we can't handle. Shion, the world, we can save everyone. And I mean it when I say we, Alphen.
I know. No lone wolfing it.
Hey, you're the expert on what my dad would say. Do you think he'd pat me on the back or tell me off?
Zephyr, I don't think that he'd have that much to say, to be honest. You're your own man now, Law. And you've already made up your own mind about what you want.
I guess he couldn't say anything even if he wanted to.
Law.
Sorry. I guess those of us amongst the living have enough problems to deal with, don't we? We'll need all our strength to save Shion. I'll probably end up worrying again at some point, but I guess I'll think it over more then. That okay?
Yeah, I think it is. Hey, you doing all right?
I seem to cause nothing but worry. As much as I try to look like I have things under control, everyone still worries about me.
You're not the only one.
Hey, do you remember the first time you said I was your friend?
No? When was that? Sorry, I can't remember.
That's okay. It came so naturally to you, I'm not surprised you forgot. I was different back then. The Dahnans were not even people to me, and I knew I would always be alone. But in that room with Deadheim, when you called me your friend, it just shattered the wall that I'd built up around me. Because until that moment, I'd only seen you as a means to an end. I thought of you as a way to use the Blazing Sword, and to obtain the Renis Alma. But after that day, one time became two, and before I knew it, you'd made a habit of calling me and Dohalim your friends. It didn't matter that we were Renans. You cared about us as you would any other people. Then, everyone else started to call me their friend too. To think of me as their friend. Before then, I never even dreamed I could have that. I didn't want to die and lose you all. But I also didn't want to live if it meant you would all die in my place.
Shion.
But then I realized I'd only really been thinking of myself that entire time. After saying how I felt, and hearing what you all had to say, I finally understood that. Don't worry, it's okay. I'm not planning on dying anymore. I've met too many people along the way who I truly care about to give in now. So I'll fight. For Dana and for myself. I'll fight against my fate to preserve our future. And I'll win, come hell or high water. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I won't let the world end because of me.
It's going to be a long, hard road ahead, Shion. Our fight won't be over until everyone, both Dahnans and Renans, can finally live in peace. But I swear I'll be there with you until the very end.
Thank you.
Remember what we learned back in Calaglia? There's no wall so high that we can't break it down.
Yeah, I think you may be right about that.
Everyone well rested? Then let's go. depart for Lenegis.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that. You're going to jinx us.
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
I like it. Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but, well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shionne's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? All right, then let's go.
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything okay, Shionne? You seem a little different.
Different? Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It suits you.
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me, though, you too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. but the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing matters to address. Come back and speak to me when you finish looking around the ship.
We'll be going to Lenegis soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts to you, huh? What was life on Lenegis like back then? You know, before you came to Dana.
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life, for as long as I can remember. They called it treatment, but in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean, they experimented on you?
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my thorns or changed the form they took. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised they didn't try to dissect me. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from the pain, like I was a monster or something. Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched. Helplessly complicit in their pain. I thought things couldn't get any worse. But then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming apocalypse. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness was my best friend. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine. I'm in a much better place now.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones dying to save you?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? How is that even right? It's that logic that's used to justify slavery, as if some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our own lives to save everyone else's either. If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along, isn't it?
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Xion. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in this fight. Now I see it. The true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Dahnan victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull it off?
You bet we can pull it off. We have to. It's the only hope we have of things ever changing.
Yeah, you're right. No one's ever changed the future without aiming for the stars. We can do this together.
Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey, shut up!
And what's got Law all flustered?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was scared. I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can. That's all.
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renan technology. It got me to Dana in one piece, remember?
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alphen, it must be okay. Don't you agree, Law?
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen. It's just wrong, okay?
You okay? Feeling airsick?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered. Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside of it.
It's a healing pod. It fixes injuries and illnesses.
Oh, you don't say. That should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while we're down there. Alphen? Was it something I said?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. What with the ceremony and losing control, I was a total mess. Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But that'd mean you were inside for 300 years?
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am glad that it's this century that you finally woke up in.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. And not only that, but... Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia? About the dream of coexistence, and needing to learn what it entailed?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you couldn't at home.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my brother's wishes. I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now, and those still to come. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Dahnans, wherever they might be, to be free. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen. I'll forever be grateful to you.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the Red Woman.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there, I'm through looking the other way.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
Is everyone about ready? We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenegis.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, in the tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dahna. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dahna even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renan ladder is considered superior to being a Dahnan.
Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shion?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Lost blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this Red Woman, are we expecting to find her on Lenegis?
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelegion.
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That Red Woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion, we'll find them. There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this Red Woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the Sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a Sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a Sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone. Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renans. The capital city where Shion and Dohalim used to live, no less. Who knows what we'll find on the other side?
Thinking about what could be lurking out here is giving me the heebie-jeebies.
For such a loudmouth, you sure can be a worrywart at times.
Oh, I'm sorry. How stupid of me for wanting us to stay safe.
Would you two children stop squabbling? Or do you want everyone to know we're here?
So how many Renans actually live in this place?
I couldn't tell you exactly, though not as many as you might expect. Machines and Zeugles take care of most of the city's basic functions.
There's Zeugles out here too, huh? Sounds like we can't afford to let our guard down after all.
What in the world?
This being Renan territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself. Okay, Do?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dana.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here that the Wedge originally came from.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens, see what we can find out.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman, too.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have a bunch of Danans poking their noses around.
Good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two. The Danans among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall...
What could be so important? It's worth destroying people's livelihoods and homes in the process. It's just... unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building blocks. Someone's got an awful lot of questions to answer.
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy from Dana, and then sending it to Rena.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient. Not while we still don't know what their endgame is.
He's right. We need to stop this from happening ever again.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get moving!
You heard him. You don't have time to stop and chat. Let's move.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris House has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegis was built, it was even made with people living here in mind?
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to transform like this. But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration, to avoid all this chaos.
Ordinarily, yes. You'd think so. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home, nothing more. No one knew about all this. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so, to what exactly?
Sorry. That probably sounded weird, huh?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to help you notice what you've been missing all along. This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find answers where we're going, though.
Yeah, you're right, Shion. I'm sure we will.
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time. Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Dahnan. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dahna, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it!
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dahna.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Canabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Dahnans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing more.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dahna, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Yes! Yes!
Balsef headed it.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Dahnan city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them, too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
What?
Ganabelt was so horrible to people. Yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, In my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed, the effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Pardon me.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right, too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Okay. Ah!
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganath Haros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Xion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else. What could this be?
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current Sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfried Milgras, the former Lord of Cyslodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfried whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming Sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over Holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the Sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the Motherland, Sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Corps existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was—
But why are you here? Wait, don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still— Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
What could this be?
Wow, this place is beautiful!
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagin. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnagin. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnagin and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagin and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagin had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagin was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait. Don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less, she would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Dahnans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Damn it! Lenegis soldiers!
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well, So much for them not wanting to fight.
Ho! I am Lord Dohalim of Elder Menancia. I command you.
The rest of the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed enough. If they want to fight, they got one.
You're mine! Hold nothing back! Double Demon Fang! Coming through! Ha! Melt! Scarlet Inferno!
Benediction light. Thanks. The enemy will us too.
We'll soon see about that.
This one's all mine! Damn it!
Where are you going? A chain between heaven and earth. You get the gist. I'll trick you up. In here.
I owe you one.
Now.
Kisara!
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone.
Yellow! Take this!
Not my watch.
Coming through! Ha! Melt! Scarlet Inferno! Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw!
Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've come across so far.
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for sure. They just attacked without warning.
They weren't in the least bit fazed by Dohalim's presence either.
Indeed. They seem to recognize us as enemies, nothing more. And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not much else.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Haros. The ones in blind devotion to Volron.
I've never seen anything like that here on Lenegis before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries. At least we'll know to keep our wits about us.
Coming through! Demon Fang!
Arctic Waterfall! Lunar Corruptible!
Your reflexes will not serve you well. Easter! Double Demon Fang! Destruction! Double Demon Fang!
Easy and smelling to me. Yeah, and ugly to do. I can carve through armor.
Double Demon Fang! No escape! You're mine! I owe you one!
Do it! I'm on a roll! Annihilation!
No further.
Double Demon
Now!
Blade long!
Look sharp. Lightning Tiger Blade.
A chain between heaven and earth. It's in the sky! I never missed!
I'm ready! Stop down!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Champion Scorpion!
Elusive deity.
Take it out!
Tornado Drive.
Do it!
Kisara!
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone.
Quite necessary when creating weaponry.
Get lost!
Double Demon Fang! Try harder! No escape! Ignite!
Hope this works!
Soaring blast!
As if the normal creepy crawlies aren't disgusting enough.
It's over!
Lunar Corruption!
Destruction!
No further.
Mega
Double Demon Fang!
Far enough! Ice Prison! Burning!
Elusive deity.
Ready!
Soaring Blast.
Mega Ray!
I'll stop its charge!
Thanks, Kisara!
Severing wind!
Light.
Rising! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Benediction light.
Double Demon Fang!
Don't suffer in silence.
Double Demon Fang! The flame inside me yearns to be let free! You picked the wrong fight!
Anything in armor is all mine!
Magic is there!
Carve through armor!
Reflect on that.
In here!
You might reflect on blade.
Lunar corruption! Photon flash! Mega ray!
Take this!
Blah 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 magic! Where are you going?
Double Demon Fang! Swallow Blade! Try harder! Now!
Nothing gets by me!
Lunar corruption!
For it!
Wind!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! It's on!
Anything in armor is all mine!
Not on my watch!
I can carve through armor! It's time!
Another incantation ruined.
By the power
Double
of
Demon Fang!
Celestial Hammer!
I'll face you!
I'll heal you all!
Everlasting darkness! Negative gate!
Double Demon Fang!
Raging
Sorry to trouble you.
Eagle Ray! Gemini Aqua!
Double Demon Fang!
Let the marksman handle this! Everyone, get back! It's too
Here
dangerous!
I come! Ignite!
Here comes!
Here I come!
Illuminate the blah 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 magic!
Destruction!
Holy
Double
land!
Demon Fang!
Came between heaven and earth! A wailing banshee to
Can't get out of this!
Double Demon Fang!
Here! Air thrust!
Demon left!
Double Demon Fang!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
Let's dispose of the trash.
Bring him down! Take down their defenses! Engaging! It's on! Eat this!
Its armor's too strong.
It'll split it open!
Be my guest!
Far enough!
Double Demon!
Raging storm! Here's another!
You're mine!
Like astral energy!
Too fast!
Stand back! I'll trip it up!
Too much! Severing wind! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Searing flame!
Double Demon Fang!
Radiant flame!
Splendid Flash! Double Demon Fang!
That'll bring you down!
Benediction light.
Double Demon Fang!
Can't get out of this!
Here's a
Here
healing
I come!
Now you see what I can do!
Double Demon! It's on!
Totally!
In an instant! Impact Claw!
Oh, by the starting wind!
Ignite! Double Demon Fang! Severing wind!
Begin!
Annihilation!
Take
Radiant
down!
here!
Swallow Blade!
Negative gate!
Another incantation ruined.
Double Demon Fang!
Everlasting takes this!
A chain between heaven and earth! Healing circle!
We're not finished!
Here! I'm out of ammo! More far enough! Illuminate the sun!
Here I come!
Holy land! Now! Astral energy!
Say no more.
I need to be stronger.
Coming through!
Now you'll learn!
I can carve through armor!
Pierce evil!
Is it too late to talk over our differences?
You jerk! Let free!
Wind! Here! Oh, sparkling starlight! Rain down!
You picked the wrong fight!
This one's mine!
Double Demon Fang!
Can't get out of this! Try harder!
That's my cue.
I'm not done! Shut him down! Flash! Dance
Do it!
away!
Here! Astral energy!
Say no more!
On your knees! Double Demon Fang!
You're mine!
Here comes!
Double Demon Fang! Win!
Can't be slow! I can handle it!
Try this! Infernal Torrent!
Shield!
No escape! Destruction! The wind!
Now! Astral energy!
Say no more!
Seems about right to me. Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight.
Is someone making them stand guard over the Forbidden Zone? Retreat if you know what's good for you.
Spear! Pierce evil!
Armor won't save you! Take this!
Freeze Lancer!
Swallow Blade! Can't get out of this! Time to cross blades!
Pierce evil!
The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Freeze Lancer!
Ignite! Here I come! Swallow Blade!
Searing Willing! Tornado!
And it Rage.
Double Demon Fang! Raging! Searing Denied! And next time Here! Celestial Hammer!
Demon Focus! Eagle Ray! Behold! The Earth Pulse! Tectonic Vision! Benediction Light. Take this! Slash! Double Demon Fang!
I never miss!
Swallow Blade! Everlasting Dark! Hold nothing back! That could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
I'll face you. Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Double Demon Fang!
Glacial Spear! Here's the evil! More where that came from!
You picked the wrong fight!
Raging Cascade!
Double Demon Fang!
Glacial Spear! Here's the
Double
evil!
Demon Fang!
Please now! Here goes!
Rising Flash! Double Demon Fang!
Lightning Orb!
Incineration Wave! Double Demon Fang!
Energy!
Can't get out of this! Here I come!
Lightning Condensed!
Take this!
Nothing gets by me! Only Glimmer! One more!
Double Demon Fang!
Anything in order is all
I must remember my limits.
Thanks so much!
Double Demon Fang!
Raging Sword! My Astral Dance!
Double Demon Fang!
In here!
Incineration Wave!
More
Here I come! Lady Holiday!
Here's a healing art!
Double Demon Fang! They smite me!
Let the horseman handle this! Dance in the wind! Where are you going?
Double Demon Fang!
I'll be
Swallow
safe!
Blade! Can't get out of this! No escape!
Steel Force! More healing circle!
Double Demon Fang! Everlasting Dark! Negative gate!
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! Will this
Here goes!
Heal! Ignite! No odds of being interrupted!
Not in your dreams!
Double Demon Fang!
Lunar Blast! I can handle it!
In your death.
Far enough!
Catapult! Try this! It's now! Take this!
Lunar Corruption!
Double Demon Fang! Totally! In an instant! Impact Cross!
That'll teach us for getting cocky.
No
I'll
choice!
heal you all! Lightning can
Double Demon Fang!
Healing circle! Came between heaven and
Swallow
earth!
Blade!
Let this go!
I won't show you any mercy! Swallow blade! Double demon fang!
Dance in the wind!
Shattering to pieces! Attack us!
Double demon fang!
Elusive deity! Rotating
Incineration blade! Double demon fang! Eat this!
Fire support!
Now!
Remember!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Back into the fray!
My turn!
I never miss!
Okay!
Mission!
Here's the evil! Forno!
Double
Repulsor!
win!
Arch shield!
Stardust!
Confiscated! Annihilation! Violent starting wind!
Rising Phoenix! Double demon fang! Remember!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Don't get careless.
Right, here goes! Anyone, eh? Consideration blade! Burn in hell! Double demon!
No further!
I'm the true gunslinger around here. Ready?
Try harder! No chance!
Now wailing dancing lightning!
Time to let it rip! Slash! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Benediction
Here goes!
Healing
game!
Double demon fang!
Ready to go!
Take this! Double demon fang!
This one's mine!
Win! Stardust! Rising Phoenix! Double demon fang!
In a bind,
I'll stop your movement!
and I'll stop your life!
By the power of water!
Take this! You picked the wrong fight! Double demon fang! Swallow blade! Win!
My watch!
Double demon fang! Here I come! Destruction!
Sleep now!
Splendid slash!
Anything in armor is all mine!
Thunder field!
Try harder! My turn!
I'm ready!
Kisara!
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Illuminate the sun! By the power of water!
In a bind,
If it's in the sky, it's mine! That'll bring you down!
Elusive demon!
Slash! I'm ready! Demons descend! Flashing fang!
With this, I can become even stronger! Little help!
Double demon fang!
Resonate with the earth! Stalagmite!
Not today!
It's like trying to keep up with a wall! Healing's not in your dreams!
Now you see what I can do!
All disasters made right! Healing's the pure evil!
Double demon fang! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Not today!
I've used too much.
Glacial spear! Pure evil!
Double demon fang!
Destruction! More for the stockpile!
Double demon fang!
Sparkling stars of
No
light!
escape!
Rain down and purify!
Double demon fang! I'm not done! Slash! Double demon!
Back into the fray! I'll be saving this one!
Double demon fang! Incineration wave!
No further!
All disasters
Double
made
demon
right!
fang!
I'll stop your movement!
And I'll stop your life!
Chain between heaven and
Not a
earth!
chance! I'm not
A
done!
wailing dancing lightning! This is it!
Strike!
Divine saving!
Swallow blade!
Shattering the pieces!
Look!
I've used a bit too much healing.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was Sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Dahnan. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for, let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dahna. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alphen was speaking to, she looked exactly like Shion.
It was Naori. Naori Imaris. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
She really does look like Shion. I'm beginning to see why Alphen was so confused.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly? It was too real to be a mere hallucination.
It was a conversation we had 300 years ago. The night before the ceremony.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an episode straight out of your past?
But how is that even possible? Unless... Could this be the Red Woman's handiwork too?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Dahnan astral energy rushing over us.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was the same sensation as back inside the wedge.
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dana's astral energy were being siphoned and sent up here to Lenegis. For all we know, perhaps we're close to the spot where all that energy was stored.
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible for that vision we just saw? But how? And why?
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not even as deliberate as all that.
Shion, you okay?
Yeah, it was all just a little sudden, that's all. So that was my ancestor, huh? It was like looking into a mirror.
Yeah, there certainly is a resemblance.
What about you? How are you holding up?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, it's likely we'll see more of those. Reliving painful episodes from your past. Do you think you can handle it?
I can't just pretend like the past never happened. Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was, it might also lead to answers about your thorns.
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole time, we've been fighting to free Dana from the Renans. But now that we're here, it seems those same Renans might have it just as bad. I'd like to liberate them too if I can. Which is just another reason I can't afford to shield my eyes from the truth.
Whether you're on Dana or somewhere else, you always stay the same. Your indignation and righteous passion, your desire to free and protect, they're all hardwired into you. Not that I'm complaining. Come on, let's bust this thing wide open.
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's no telling what could happen in here.